In this video, I'm going to teach you guys how to play Awakening Maehwa, and so what are we waiting for? Let's get this started. Awakening Maehwa doesn't really have a lot of skills, and so she can be very easy to learn and adapt. First of all, we have this skill, which is Carry Spear Training, and so in order to use this ability, I recommend doing W+LMB. And so when you guys are dashing and then going to the enemy and then doing W+LMB gives a nice floating, doesn't have a cooldown, so it's very nice. Only downside is that it doesn't have any protection, and so when there's more enemies around you and then when you use that ability and if somebody hits you with the CC, you will basically going to be knocked down, and so you want to be careful when using this ability. Keep in mind that when you guys are playing Awakening and if you guys want to dash forward to the enemy, you guys want to turn around your mouse like this and then press RMB just itself. If you guys press W+RMB to the enemy, you cannot get through to the enemy, and so just as a friendly reminder for you guys, what you guys want to do is flip your mouse like this, and then you guys can basically easily get out from from the dangerous locations. And then also we have a nice skill which is Sleet Step, and Succession Maehwa doesn't even have this, and so it's really nice skill to use, which is Sleet Steps. And so we can basically do like this. He has a super honor on the first one, but then the cooldown is on 7 seconds. And so you guys definitely want to use this on PvP, but only once. After that, you guys want to like back out like this, for example. But it does use stamina. It's really up to you guys if you guys want to use this. I usually would recommend using Sleet Step to go behind the enemy. So like this, and give it a knockdown, and then use that ability to go behind them like this, for example. But then on PvE, we don't really care, so you do want to use this a lot in PvE, and then you guys can basically easily slide enemies like this. Just watch your stamina. It does get really stamina thirsty for that ability. Next, we have a full moon wall, which is pressing Q. It basically gives us DP buff, and then it has a forward guard, so it's really nice for defensing, so just watch out from your back. And then after that, we have Moonbreak, which is LMB during the full moon wall. And so when we press Q, and then if you press LMB, can give basically a nice stun to the enemy. And so you guys can basically press Q, let them attack you, and then after that, if you just press LMB, and then if you have a chance to give stun, something like that, now you guys want to use this ability called Frost Flower, which is SE. And if you guys hold SE, it does that, and then it gives them knockdown. And so what you guys want to do as a Maehwa player is trying to give a floating or some kind of ability to give them a CC. Like that, and then what we want to do is go too close to them and then give a knockdown for the second CC. Next, we do have this ability which is Tenacious Edge, but I don't recommend using it. It does not have any protection, but it does have a stiffness, and so it's really up to you guys using it, but I would recommend locking that and then move on to the next ability. Next, we have a Pedal Drill, which is Shift+LMB, and then we can hold LMB to perform extra attacks. So for example, Shift+LMB and then hold LMB like that. This one has nice super armor and bound for PvE, but the most important part is that it has all DP -20, movement speed -30. And so those are really good, debuff to the enemy, so it's really good for PvP. And then when you guys are PvE grinding, I really recommend you guys using this operation, which is pressing E, because around Maehwa player, it's going to give them a debuff of all DP -30. And so that one is really nice to give a nice DP on the enemy. Or if not, you guys can use Pedal Drill, which also has all DP -20. And so I highly recommend you guys using the skill add-ons for this, for debuffing, like evasion, debuff, and all DP. It can be stackable, and so I highly recommend using this on skill add-ons for debuff on PvE. Next, we have an Ice Fang, which is WE. It's very nice skill to use because it has a forward guard, and it just gives a really nice damage to the enemy. And then after that, you guys can just press RMB to back out like this. Next, we have this ability, Pedal Swirl. This is a nice skill because it gives you guys all accuracy rate of +20. And so let's say that you guys are fighting evasion players, and so this is where it's at for Awakening Maehwa. What you guys want to do is before you guys engage to the enemy is just press WF, and you guys get that nice all accuracy rate of 15% for long seconds. And then if it's out, then you guys want to do using the same ability again to get the buff back. And so always do that when you guys are before engaging to the enemy. Shift F is a really nice skill because it has a critical hit rate of 30%. And then after that, it also has a really nice flow skills, which is just holding F, and then it uses the tip of an iceberg. And so if you guys didn't know, if you guys are new to BDO, if you guys see this line in the game, that means it's some kind of a combo skill. So if you guys are, for example, using this ability, which is Shift F, and then if you guys use this ability, which is F, it uses both of them at the same time. So for example, like this, and then uses that ability afterwards. And so it's a really nice combo that you guys can use in BDO. This one is also good for PvP. It has forward guard in the beginning, and it just gives a really nice damage. And so you guys can use that ability, and then after that, you guys can just back up by pressing RMB, and then, you know, doing something else for other abilities, for pokes, for CCs, and so on. Next, we have Moonrise, which is down F, and then he has all evasion rate minus 9%. And so let's say that we give down to the enemy like this, and then what we want to do is using Frost Flower, and they give him a second knockdown. And then after that, we can use something like Moonrise if they were high evasion players, like Succession Ninja, for example, or Awakening Striker. And then if you use that ability, it gives them a debuff of all evasion rate, and so that's a nice skill to use when you guys are against high evasion players. And then look at this, it also has a nice line right here. So what does that mean? So we press SF, and then we just have to press LMB to use this ability. And then after that, a hidden skill that you guys didn't know is also right here, which is Moonlight Dash. All we have to do is just pressing LMB after Petal Bloom or Cloud Stab or Frost Feint. And so yeah, that's the recommendation I recommend you guys doing is down F, LMB, and then LMB again. And then he uses that 3 abilities just like that. So it's very nice flow skills. And so that's why Awakening Maehwa can be very easy and friendly for new BDO players. And so now we have this ability Frost Flower that I always talked about, which is your best CC in the game. It has a knockdown which will basically make them stay on the floor for a long period of time. And so for example, if you're playing defensive and pressing Q, and then they're attacking at us, and then if you press LMB, if you give them a stun, that's when you guys want to use Frost Flower and give them a knockdown. And then after that, we can do the Moonrise combo, right? Which is down F, and then holding LMB, for example, and then using that quick 3 abilities to give lots of damage. Next, we have this ability called Petal Bloom. All we have to do is pressing Shift+RMB, and then you guys can also hold RMB. And it basically charges like this if you guys want to. And then after that, just spray it out at the enemy to give lots of damage. And then once again, we have Moonlight Dash, which is the combo flow right here. So Petal Bloom, which is Shift+RMB, and then we want to hold LMB after that to give another combo like that. Moonlight Dash is really nice combo to use because it has a super armor, lots of damage, and same thing with Petal Bloom. So what you guys want to do is like dash around and then Shift+RMB, LMB, and then move around again, right? And then just keep moving around and give lots of damage as Awakening Maehwa in PvP. And this is for advanced Awakening Maehwa players, which is adding Cold Snap during your combos. So for example, if you do a Moonrise, which is SF, and holding LMBs, after that, at the end, we can add a spacebar and add a Cold Snap for a little more extra damage as well. Like that. And then on the 4th one, it uses the Cold Snap, just like that, for example. Next combo we can try is doing Petal Bloom and then adding Moonlight Dash, and then after that we can also add a spacebar at the end, and it will look something like this, something like that. Next, we have this skill called Oppression, and so if you use this ability on the enemy, it will give them a debuff of all DP minus 30, and the best part is that it also has a stiffness. And so while you guys are blocking, and then press LMB, and if the stun didn't work, try maybe E again, right? And then if it gives a stiffness, then you guys know what to do, which is giving a knockdown and then doing some combos that I'm about to teach you guys later in this video. Next, we have a Frost Feint, which is pressing F, and then it basically kind of backs up and then also gives a nice CC like this and stiffness. And if they also get stiffed, you guys know what to do, right? And give them a knockdown and then doing amazing combo at the end. There's another cool ability that it doesn't really show in Awakening abilities, but you guys have to go to main and then scroll down, and then it's called Absolute Red Moon. So you guys basically, in order to use this ability, you have to press Shift Q in order to use this ability. And just like that. And it has a really nice floating, and that's usually the best way to give CC on the enemy, just by pressing Shift Q. And then after that, if they actually fall down as a floating CC, then you guys want to do the combo that I'm about to teach you guys right now, and it will look something like this. Slowing down one more time. So we start off with Shift Q, and then if they actually get floating, we press SE and then give a second CC. After that, we press E, Shift F with an F flow combo, SF, and then the flow combo, which is holding LMB. And then after that, you guys want to end with the spacebar. And then after that, if you guys have any extra abilities to use, go for it. If not, you want to back out, because if they stand up and give you a grab, that's a no-no. Now let's talk about some cool stuff about awakening classes in BDO, which is having selected skills. So for example, Tennis Edge, I didn't recommend you guys using this ability because it didn't have any forward guard or some kind of protection. But if you guys use this ability right here, then now you guys can get forward guard, for example, when you guys are using this ability. However, the cooldown is 3 seconds, which is short cooldown, so it's not too bad to give a lot of like stiffness if you guys want to, but at the same time, I think there's more better values using something else. And so let's move on to the next one, which is pedal drill. And so the pedal drill, it has a bound right here, but if you guys read it, it actually has PvE only for bound on hits. And so if you guys use this ability now right here, now when we use this ability, you will basically going to give a CC on the enemy like this, a bound. And so what that means is now is that when I use this ability, now we can use Frost Flower to give a second knockdown, for example, and then doing that cool combo. However, for example, let's say that we're using some main abilities, which is like Shift+RMB, because this is a really nice good CC to give the enemy from long range, right? For example. And so what we do is usually if we do actually land the CC like this, for example, and then what we want to do is dash in and then using ability like pedal drill in order to change from main to awakening very smoothly for transition wise. But for example, we need to lock this carver right here. And the reason behind that is if we use this Shift+RMB, which is the arrow, and then we dash in and then try to use ability, we're going to use carver instead. And so what we need to do is basically lock this. And then if you guys are actually using the selected skill for pedal drill, then now we can smoothly use our dashing from main weapon and then change it to pedal drill smoothly. And so for example, it will look something like this. Like that, for example. Now they're in a bound. And then now we can use Frost Flower for second CC, for example, and so on. And so keep in mind, if you guys are using this pedal drill, just lock the carver so that way it's not in the way, because it does not have also protection. And so it's very, very dangerous to use that ability after using a bow, for example, and then trying to get in and then trying to give a CC. Next, we have Pedal Swirl, which has a super armor. And so this one right here, I highly recommend just using the ability before you guys are going in. And so, you know, all accuracy rate plus 15, that's really, really good buff to use. And so I don't really recommend using this one. The cooldown is 10 seconds, and so it's not really recommended as well, right? Even though it's spammable, but only the first one is super armor, so that's why I don't think this has a good value on PvP. And so moving on to the next one, which will be Frost Pillars. This one's not too bad. He has a knockdown, so now if you guys don't want to use the Frost Flower, now you guys can use basically Shift F to give a nice CC, for example. So it's really up to you guys if you guys like that method. It does have a knockdowns, which for PvP, which is amazing. But if you guys want to just use this one, Frost Flower, then that's also okay. And so it's really up to you guys. So for example, when we are fighting here too, now we can use this ability, Frost Pillars, Shift F as a beginning, because it has a protection, right? And then it also has a CC. So if they fall down, now we can use Frost Flower, for example, right? And then doing our combo, for example, like that. So this one just has a really nice CC. It already has protection, so you know it's a win-win. So it's up to you guys to use that one. This one has 7 seconds cooldown. I think that's fair use, and so I highly recommend using Frost Pillars. If not, let's look at Moonrise. And so in order to use this ability, we have to press down F, but now they didn't have protection, but now it has super armor. But at the same time, I recommend you guys using this combo when they actually fall down on the floor. And so that's the reason why I wouldn't use this for PvP. And so I highly recommend, once again, Frost Pillars. And then we have a last one right here, Petal Bloom. So let's look into this one. It has a knockdown, and then in order to use this ability is Shift+RMB, just like that, and then it also has a knockdown. And so yeah, it's really up to you guys. This one is 12 seconds cooldown. This one was 7 seconds, so it's really up to you guys to use this ability for more CCs if you guys want for knockdown. So instead of using Frost Flower, now you guys can use also this for backup knockdown, for example. So my recommendation would be either, if you guys like that pedal drill combo that I just showed you guys, which is bow, and then just going in, and then Shift+LMB for the bound combo. If not, the safest bet would be just Frost Pillars and then Petal Bloom. I would recommend the advanced Maehwa players trying out the pedal drill combo. If not, if you guys want to be simple and easy, yeah, just go for Frost Pillars or Petal Bloom right here. Okay, so let's just go over quickly what we learned today. So for example, we have protection damage, which is Ice Fang. In order to use this ability, we just have to press WE, And then after that, it gives us really nice debuff to the enemy. And the stun only works for PvE. And so it's only a good filler for PvP. And the reason behind that is it has movement speed -20, attack casting speed -20. And so it's really nice just protection debuff for the enemy like this. And then you guys can back out, for example, like this. Next, we have protection CC. So in order to use Red Moon, we need to press Shift Q. And then just like this. And it will give a nice floating with frontal guard. And so that's a really nice way for Awakening Maehwa to give CC in PvP. So try to use that. If it didn't work, just back out, just pressing RMB. And then after that, the next one we can talk about is Frost Feint, which is just pressing F. And then you just kind of go backwards a little bit and then stab them. And then if they actually land the CC like this, then you guys know what to do, which is giving a knockdown for second CC and then doing your combo. Next, we have selected skills right here, which is Petal Drill, Frost Pillars, Petal Bloom. They all have protection. So if you want to, you know, they can be all right here. And you guys don't have to pick the selected skill for that and then pick something else if you want. But if you really like Frost Pillars, for example, oh, I love that knockdown, then you know what to do. And picking Frost Pillars for selected skills, then now this skill has protection damage and also has CC. So, you know, these are some ideas for you guys that I just left it up for here. So pick of, you know, whatever you like to use for out of these 3 skills. And then Moonrise also already has floating, but it doesn't have protection. And so, you know, it can be right here, for example, if you're not using the selected skills. But then if you guys use this selected skills for this one, then it becomes right here in the middle, which has protection and also has CC, right? And so that's the option for you guys right there as well. And so I just left all these 4 right here for your recommendation. And so yeah, have fun with it. And then next we have is no protection, which is risky to use on PvP, but highly rewarding if you actually land a hit. So carry spear once again, which is W+LMB. And so we come back to the game and then W+LMB and just give a floating. Doesn't have a cooldown, which is really cool. So if our teammates already gave them a CC like this, then all we have to do is just go to close and then give a second CC, for example, like that if you guys want, right? And so that's an idea for that scenario. Next, we have Moonbreak, which is pressing Q and then LMB. But the risky about this is that if enemy has a grab, then they'll most likely grab you if you stand still. So highly not recommended when you're like fighting against the person who has a grab. And so only use this for people who doesn't have a grab. Next, we have Oppression, which is just pressing E. And then you can easily stiff people like that, for example, and then has a debuff. So this is really a good way for PvP for CCing as well, but it's also risky to use because it doesn't have protection. So use it on your own risk, but it's highly rewarding. Next, we have Cold Snap, which is using some kind of ability, which is Shift+LMB, for example, and then pressing spacebar, and then it does give a stiffness, but at the end, it does not have protection. So it can be also risky to use if enemy CCs you at the end. And so use it at your own risk, but highly rewarding as well if they actually land the stiffness. The most bet I recommend you guys would be using ranged CC, for example, using Stub Arrow. So that's the reason why Succession Maehwa is so good, is because they usually use Stub Arrow most of the time to give CC on the enemy. And then if they do get CC like that, then that's when you guys go in and give CC, for example. And so I highly recommend you guys using the Petal Drill. And so what you guys want to do is come back here again and then lock the Carver. And so when you guys are using for Petal Drill, then you guys can land the CC, for example. So I don't have a book right now anymore, and so I can't show you guys right now, but you guys get the point, right? And then there will be CC like that for second CC. One downside about Awakening Maehwa is that you guys can't really put any of these skills in your hotbar besides Petal Drill. And so that's the reason why that method works really well when you guys are wanting to use Stub Arrow, for example, and then giving a CC by pressing number 1 or just pressing Shift+LMB. And so yeah, that's the recommendation for you guys, is for the selected skills. I really recommend you guys getting that Petal Drill, so that way when you guys happen to use Stub Arrow for long range, and then if they do actually get a CC, then you guys can come on with a Petal Drill with a balanced CC. Next, we're going to talk about buff skills, and so just keep in mind for your buff skills, we have E buff, which is General Might. You guys want to put this in a hotkey and then get that all juicy buff right there. Petal Swirl gives you guys accuracy rate, so it's really important to buff that up before you guys go in. Same thing with pressing Q, it does give you a DP buff, and so you guys want to press WF or Q or WF depending on what you guys want to use first. They both have 10 seconds cooldown and then reuse it again to buff up again. So it doesn't really matter. So it's really up to you guys which one you guys want to use first before engaging to the enemy. And then after that, we do have Sleep Step, and it gives you guys attack speed of 10%. So abuse this in PvE grinding. You guys will get that free attack speed of 10%. And then you guys can also use this for PvP for you know, protection, moving around, and then just pressing RMB for going back as well. And then just give you guys yourself of attack speed of 10%. And then Frost Pillars, if you press Shift F, we do get that critical hit rate of 30%. And so it's really, really nice to give double damage if you get this buffed up. And then last but not least, we have Frost Flower, and this is our knockdown combo. So for example, guys, if you come back all the way up here again, and then if let's say that we actually land a CC, right? And then we want to end up with second CC, which is Frost Flower. So it's really, really important to use Frost Flower as a second CC because he has the longest CC so that they stay on the floor. And then you guys can also get all AP plus 20. And so it's like a bonus. And so you definitely want to end up with this and then adding some combos that I taught you guys previously. And then we have debuff skills. So Pedal Drill, Shift+LMB, it will give all DP minus 20 and movement speed minus 30. So it's really, really nice skill to use with the short cooldown as well. And so I highly recommend once you guys using Pedal Drill for the selected skills. And then Ice Fang is really nice for PvP, which is WE. And then it gives movement speed debuff, attack casting speed debuff as well. And so it's really nice protection skill that you guys can use and also give debuff to the enemy. Moonrise, we have SF, and then it gives all evasion minus 9% as well. So adding this on your combo after your second CC, it's highly recommended to use Moonrise and then giving all evasion rate debuff as well. Oppression is also a nice skill for CC, and it all has all DP minus 30. And so that's the reason why I like to use this in my combo, so that way you guys can debuff them with DP minus 30. And if you guys are not too sure with skill add-ons, Garment.com offers you guys skill add-ons, what skills you guys need to use. So for example, we're gonna come to your gear. And so for example, we're gonna hover right here, go to Gear Planner, and then make your class, for example, right here. And then we're gonna make a Maehwa right here. Then click on that and create. And then after that, we're gonna go add-ons, and then we're gonna make create new. And then right here, we're gonna click Maehwa and then awakening. And then after that, it tells us exactly what we need to use, for example. So if you guys see the highest percentage, that's what people recommend using. And so we click on this one. Now you guys see all this fire right here. So they recommend us using this and then that. And so that's how you guys can use first skill add-ons. And then after that, we can use Pedal Drill. And then just click on the fire one is highly recommendation. So this is what you guys want to do as well if you guys are not too sure. And then the rest, what you guys want to do is looking at the percentage. So people recommend using Frost Pillars next or Moonrise, right? And then after that, click on these two. And then after that, let's click on the 14% and then click on that. And that's how you guys can use what skill add-ons you guys want to use and something like that in this scenario. But then Woo's recommendation is using like Pedal Drill that has already debuff all DP minus 20 and then adding extra all DP minus 15 there. So that way when you guys are grinding and then use that ability on the enemy, now they're basically debuff of, you know, minus 35. Okay? And so yeah, that's my recommendation for you guys, and do that. Thank you so much for watching. That is it with this part 1 video. If you guys liked it, like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Ciao.